The F-22 was designed to be the primary air superiority fighter for the United States. Its main objective was to achieve air dominance, which means having control over friendly airspace and the ability to dominate hostile airspace in any situation or location chosen by the U.S. or Allied theater commander, regardless of the conflict or adversary. To achieve this goal, the F-22 combines several key features, including stealth, sustained supersonic cruise speeds without afterburners, known as supercruise, and integrated avionics. The F-22, developed through the Advanced Tactical Fighter Program by Lockheed Martin/Boeing and powered by Pratt and Whitney F-119 engines, was initially focused on air-to-ground missions in the early 1970s. However, air-to-air missions were later considered, and the program's main objective since 1982 has been to achieve air dominance. Originally, the ATF program aimed to counter the Soviet threat during the Cold War. It focused on air superiority missions, such as locating and neutralizing enemy interceptors, standoff jammers, and large offensive attack formations. The program did not initially include air-to-ground attacks, reconnaissance, or other multi-role missions. However, advancements in Soviet aircraft like the MiG-29 and Su-27 in the 1980s influenced the design of the ATF. These Soviet platforms had similar aerodynamic performance to the F-15, but were inferior in terms of avionics and long-range weapons. The Air Force leadership believed that the F-15's air superiority advantage was diminishing and sought to develop the ATF to maintain a technological edge against superior Soviet numbers. 7 companies submitted proposals during the concept exploration phase, and Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman were selected to develop the YF-22 and YF-23 prototypes, respectively. Eventually, Lockheed Martin's proposal was chosen as superior due to better capability at a lower cost, and the program became the Lockheed Martin F-22. The engineering, manufacturing, and development phase began in 1991, with the Air Force anticipating the F-22 to achieve initial operational capability in 2001. However, post-Cold War budget cuts reduced the planned production from 750 to 648 units in 1991, and the program's total cost was estimated at $99.1 billion. Development costs accounted for $19.5 billion, while the remaining $79.6 billion was allocated to production, resulting in an average production unit cost of $122.8 million. The early engineering, manufacturing, and development phase of the F-22 Raptor faced significant challenges due to the declining Department of Defense budget and the changing post-Cold War environment. In the early 1990s, the DoD budget experienced a sharp decrease, leading to a difficult environment for the F-22 program. However, the Air Force's strong support for the F-22 and its strategic importance helped the program survive during this period. The Air Force's sustainment strategy after the Cold War involved sacrificing force structure and preserving modernization programs. This strategy led to a decrease in active-duty personnel and the retirement of older tactical aircraft. The force structure was reduced from 36 to 27 fighter wing equivalents by 1993. However, the Clinton administration planned a second major restructuring of the military to reduce the federal deficit, which posed further challenges for the F-22 program. Senior Air Force leaders strongly supported the F-22 program, considering it the most important acquisition program for the Air Force. Other developmental programs were sacrificed to prioritize the F-22 during the bottom-up review negotiations. The F-22 program underwent modifications to incorporate limited air-to-ground strike capabilities, broadening its capabilities beyond air-to-air combat. The primary criticism directed at the F-22 program throughout its history was that the post-Cold War threat environment did not justify its cost. The 1993 bottom-up review identified the DoD's responsibilities after the Cold War, including deterring major regional conflicts and preventing attacks involving weapons of mass destruction. Despite the reduced likelihood of direct threats from Russia, the Air Force believed that advanced airborne threats justified the continuation of the F-22 program. The General Accounting Office presented a critical report in 1993, suggesting that the F-15 was superior to projected air threats, and that the F-22 was not necessary until at least 2014. The GAO's report analyzed potential air superiority threats from several countries and concluded that the F-15 could adequately meet the air superiority requirements. However, the Air Force countered these arguments by asserting that the F-15's capabilities were underestimated, and its own analysis projected that the F-15 was inferior in certain areas compared to future threats. In 1997, the F-22 program faced additional pressure when the Deputy Secretary of Defense called for a review of major acquisition programs. The reduced threat environment made the F-22 program vulnerable, and the possibility of delaying production was considered. Although there were explorations of expanding the F-22's mission set, no significant design changes were implemented, and the program continued with its original objectives. Rising program costs became a significant concern, leading to the formation of a joint estimating team in 1996 to approximate future costs and find ways to control expenses. The program became budget-driven, with decreased production numbers intended to fund additional costs. The Air Force's AEF construct, grouping operational fighter squadrons into expeditionary forces, became the foundation for determining the required number of F-22s. The Air Force argued that each AEF needed an air superiority squadron, justifying the need for 10 operational F-22 squadrons. In 2001, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld took office with a mandate to reform the DoD and support recapitalization efforts. However, he appeared skeptical about the F-22 program and did not mention it as a priority during early testimony. By 2004, Secretary Rumsfeld concluded that additional F-22s did not align with his transformation vision and sought further production cuts. The program faced challenges with cost overruns and an acquisition scandal, which weakened its defense. In 2004, production funding for the F-22 was removed, effectively ending production at 187 aircraft. Despite the challenges and limited production, the F-22 has demonstrated impressive performance in high-threat scenarios, with its stealth capabilities allowing it to go undetected by radar systems. However, the cost-effectiveness of the program has been a point of contention throughout its history.